Earthlings, how you doing? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Let's jump over to our cosmic weather, get things started here. Solar wind at spaceweather.com is currently listed as 379.5 kilometers per second. Planetary K index at a 1, expected to be higher, no higher than a 2 in the next 24 hours. Our coronal holds, you can see that they are not really that prominent. We do have this small one up here, still dealing with. Chance for M-class flares has dropped significantly. It's down only to a 15% chance. It was up to a 65 and a 75, so we've really dropped down. The chance for geomagnetic storm, if you're in the mid-latitudes, 35% chance it's going to be active. If you're in the high latitudes, a little bit higher, 40%, but that's about it. Now we do have a public service announcement right here. Says solar maximum is coming in 2013. How will space weather affect you? To answer that question, experts from around the world are gathering at the Space Weather Enterprise Forum, SWEF, on June 5th, 2012. At the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. to learn more. You can register. Here's a link to check that out. Alright. Astrologically, we're dealing with the same sun sign, so our conscious mind is dealing with the element of Earth. We've moved, however, in our moon sign. We were at the element right here the other day in Pisces. Today we're in between signs, so it's called the void of course. So when we're switching from one moon sign to the other unconsciously, so we go from Pisces, which is water, to Aries, which is fire, a new beginning. So we got those two that we're working with underneath, fire and water. Earth as far as the conscious mind. Our moon sign, or our moon phase, is almost back down to a new moon again. We should be hitting that new moon about the weekend time, right around the time of the eclipse. And today on the Dreamspell, or the Mayan Oracle, we have a 13-tone day. So it's the last position here on the wave spell, getting ready to jump. 13s are called the jumpers. They jump from one spot to the next, so it's going to go from the end of this wave spell to the beginning of the next wave spell. And the next wave spell will be the next color after this, which is yellow, and the next symbol is the hand. So the next wave spell will be the star will be the wave spell of the star, and that will be 13 days. So the hand is getting ready to jump from here to the next phase. So the hand, the Daykin, is right in the middle. Our 13 is right on top. Our 13 tones, 5, 5, and 3 dots. That's 13. So today is a 13 hand. The 13 tone is called the cosmic tone. So today is called the cosmic hand, guided by the monkey, which is right above it. The phrase for today: I endure in order to know, transcending healing. I seal the store of accomplishment with the cosmic tone of presence. I am guided by the power of magic. The supporting cast members for today are the Earth, the human, and the wizard. The lessons are synchronicity, that's our challenge. Like-mindedness is our free will, and the hidden power is timelessness, our ability to perceive timelessness. Alright, on the Gregorian calendar, today is Tuesday, May 15th, 2012. So there you have it. That's where we're at today. Alright, to get things started, the first story is going to be regarding 9/11. This is a 10-minute trailer of theirs. It's a 10-minute trailer with Hungarian subtitles. Here we go.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My name is Richard Gage. AIA. I've been a practicing architect for 20 years, and I'm a member of the American Institute of Architects. Let's take a look at World Trade Center 7 now. It was 47 stories tall, what would have been the tallest building in 33 of our states. It was not hit by an airplane. Let's take a look at the evidence of World Trade Center 7 and see how it stacks up against the typical features of a controlled demolition, starting with, is there a sudden onset of destruction? Let's listen to this emergency word.
We were watching the building actually because it was on fire. The bottom floors of the building were on fire, and you know, we heard this sound that sounded like a clap of thunder. Turned around, we were shocked to see that the building was, well, it looked like there was a shock wave ripping through the building, and the windows all busted out, and you know, it was horrifying. And then, you know, about a second later, the bottom floor caves out, and the building followed after that, and we saw the building crash down all the way to the ground.
Do we have a straight down symmetrical collapse into the building's footprint? Let's listen to Dan Rather narrate this collapse for us as we take our first look at the collapse of Building 7.
Now we go to videotape the collapse of this building.
It's amazing.
Amazing, incredible, pick your word. For the third time today, it's reminiscent of those pictures we've all seen too much on television before, when a building was deliberately destroyed by well-placed dynamite to knock it down.
Let's take a look in this side-by-side comparison with a known controlled demolition on the right. Did the building fall into its own footprint? Pretty much so. Do we have demolition waves? And how do these remove the column support? Well, here's a floor plan of Building 7. Now, to bring a building smoothly, symmetrically into its own footprint without falling over, what we have to do is remove the core columns, because what we want to do is bring the outside of the building in on itself. Now, this involves a high degree of precision that fire is not capable of. Do we have a free fall speed of collapse through the path of greatest resistance? You can see, second by second, the building gaining downward momentum. You can plot the drop distance on a graph of time, and it fits the free fall curve almost perfectly. What does this mean? That the columns had to have been removed, and removed virtually simultaneously on each floor, synchronistically timed, so the building had no resistance virtually on the way down. Do we have a total dismemberment of the steel structure? We had a 47-story skyscraper compressed to 4 stories. Do we have sounds of explosions, though? How about Kevin McPadden?
This was boom, and like you felt a rumble in the ground, like almost like you wanted to grab onto something. That, to me, I knew that was an explosion. There was no doubt in my mind.
Do we have enormous clouds of pyroclastic smoke from the pulverized concrete? Watch the concrete entrained in the air racing down every street in each direction at 35 miles an hour. Do we have pools of molten iron? Here is Building 7 at A and B, and here is the North Tower and the South Tower. These hot spots are 1,340 to 1,370 degrees. These are the temperatures of the hottest office fires. There was no fire on the surface of Ground Zero after the collapses. What are we measuring here? We're measuring the molten metal that was seen by these first responders. Let's listen to John Gross, lead engineer of NIST, tell us about the molten metal from his perspective.
First of all, let's go back to your basic premise that there was a pool of molten steel. I know of absolutely nobody, and no eyewitness who said so, nobody who's produced it.
You'd get down below and you'd see molten steel running down the channel rails. Like you're in a foundry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like lava.
Like lava
from a volcano.
No eyewitness who said so.
There are actually melted beams where it was molten steel that was being dug out.
No eyewitness who said so.
Underground, it was still so hot that molten metal dripped down the sides of a wall.
Nobody who's produced it.
What is the problem here? Somebody's lying. I'm going to leave it up to you to make your own conclusions. How about chemical evidence, though? What produced all this molten metal? And what is thermite anyway?
Thermite. An incendiary used by the military, thermite is a compound of iron oxide and aluminum, which when ignited sustains an extreme heat reaction, creating molten iron. In just 2 seconds, thermite can reach temperatures over 4,500 degrees Fahrenheit, quite enough to liquefy steel.
Dr. Stephen Jones performed chemical analysis on the previously molten metal. Dr. Jones received no less than 4 separate samples of World Trade Center dust, some of it from Jeanette McKinley's apartment across the street, where the windows blew in and filled her apartment with dust. Another sample was found like 10 minutes later on the Brooklyn Bridge. Well, he takes this and he puts a magnet over it, and he finds that there are small particles that come up to the magnet. Some of them are angular, some of them are round. They look like this. If you had thousands of cutter charges going off in the columns and beams throughout the building, and they were under this incredible pressure, what you'd see is something like this. Tens of thousands or millions of tiny droplets. What's the shape of those droplets? When a liquid is dispersed like this, its surface tension forms itself into almost a perfect sphere. Would there possibly be any unignited thermite pieces in the World Trade Center dust? Indeed, he finds it. It also comes up to the magnet from his dust samples. Many chips. This one, a 1/16 of an inch long, red on one side, gray on the other. The red side is composed of tiny iron oxide particles and aluminum. The Lawrence Livermore Lab came out with papers only a year or two ago about this stuff. The particles being so small allow for almost instantaneous ignition between the two chemicals, the aluminum and the iron oxide, producing very explosive results. He continues his study and finds additional chips that are partially ignited, with spheres embedded in them. With Dr. Jones and his small team of scientists, through EDS, XRF, and WDS, identifies the components of these spheres and chips, predominantly iron, along with aluminum, oxygen, silicon, 1,3-diphenylpropane. The results, coupled with the visual evidence, he says, at the scene, such as the flowing hot liquid metal, providing compelling evidence that thermite reaction compounds were deliberately placed in both World Trade Center towers and Building 7. These results are documented in a peer-reviewed journal. Let's listen to what FEMA did conclude, because it is interesting. Evidence of a severe high-temperature corrosion attack on the steel, including rapid oxidation, sulfidation, and subsequent intergranular melting. Very interesting. Remember, office fires don't melt steel. What melted this steel? Capable of turning a solid steel girder into Swiss cheese, like this former wide flange column from the structural steel in Building 7. Now, they document this very carefully in their Appendix C. I believe we've shown that Building 7 matches all of the features of controlled demolition in the classic sense. Thank you so very much.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. Let's jump over to our UFO News. Today I have 4 stories for us. The first one comes to us from latest-UFO-sightings.net. Strange object filmed over New Zealand on May 11th. Witness report says a plane, a huge craft, object comparison with digital night vision. Bush shell 650 equex. Object appears and disappears. I was filming the Milky Way when I noticed a flash in the northeast direction towards Tarwanga. It's hard to guess its speed. Object altered its speed several times. Must have at least 10 to 20,000 feet up. Okay, let's take a look at this. Alright, is this our object in question here? Just sitting there. I'm going to fast forward through here a bit. Alright, there's our object. We can see it's moving across. There we go. Nice good blinker. Alright, the video is available. It's 4 minutes long for you to check it out, see what you think. Next story, Scott C. Waring Blogspot. UFO sightings daily. Latest UFO mass sighting. This is from Fresno. Okay, this is what we're going to be looking for right here. Says latest new Fresno UFO video of two UFOs, double UFO sightings, bright flash object over Fresno, California. Amazing mass sighting. This is the only video of the original morning sighting by Kevin Williams that alerted all of the Fresno to the day events that triggered the Key interview with Kevin Williams of Go News Now TV. Alright, let's check this out here. This is a long video. It's 12 minutes in length. We're not going to watch the whole video. Alright, we're looking here. Let me just fast forward a bit here. There it is. See that one right there? Alright, this is our UFO report there. Next one here, UFO near the sun identified. Now, we've done a number of reports about UFOs near the sun, but listen to this. This comes to us from Tracy Pierce, the UFO Examiner. Photographs and videos surfaced recently that allegedly showed UFO activity near the sun. Multiple news media outlets like Korea Herald reported on the phenomenon. There was a lively debate about the identity of the anomalous objects in the photos and video footage. On May 14, 2012, a popular YouTube user named Paradigm News announced that the UFO mystery has been solved in a 2-minute, 43-second video. Paradigm News showed examples of the unidentified flying objects that were recently recorded near the sun, along with photos of the celestial objects they believe is to blame for the sightings. According to Paradigm News, the object near the sun were nothing more than asteroids burning up near the sun. Anything getting pretty close to the sun with temperatures estimated 9,900 degrees Fahrenheit will burn up. Their evidence is compelling. When these asteroids burn up into Earth's atmosphere, they are commonly called shooting stars. Technically, they are called meteors. Photos of the UFOs near the sun show objects that look remarkably similar, even identical to the photos of meteors taken from Earth. Let's take a look at what this is. Alright, here we go. Alright, this is what this is. Guy's saying these are asteroids. Let's find out. Okay, he's not really getting the asteroids around the sun. Okay, this is what those objects there. Alright. Alright, so he's just showing a variety of different objects. Alright. So, I don't know if this one is explained. I'm not sold that just because this guy says that they're, that's what they are, they are. So, we shall leave that for you to decide. All right, this next story here comes to us from the UFO Digest. This is Alien, ET, UFO Community, Omniverse Creation, Story of Atlantis, and Mu. This comes to us from Teresa, making sure I get her name right. I think it's Thurmond. Is that correct? Yes, Teresa Thurmond Morris. All right. The article goes on to say, Ascension Center Organization is hereby established officially on planet Earth of the planetarians, Gaia, Other Earth, after the original creation from Mars in the zone from the ancient astronauts, the founder of the ancient Ancestor Day to be established on World Day calendars, the Ascension ET Authority. History from the beginning of Mu and Atlantis is hereby transmitted to be referenced and recorded throughout time by all storyteller shaman as the messengers of the Keeper of the Flame, sharing this among all those who are the ACE Folklife Ascension Center and of the Alien ET community. We ask all those of the art, culture, education, and ACE spiritual beings to share this with all that have the need to know. We now share that the Ascension Center is about the future of all body, mind, spirit having the birth, life, death experience on the planet that was created by and terraformed by their ancient astronaut Ascension Masters. We will now update all the ancient mystery schools with the Ascension Age, ACE Metaphysical Institute, the Ascension Center Organization, Metaphysical Science, and Earth Space Science will commence to share in the tectonic economics and the health and prosperity for all humanoids. Atlantis and Mu, TJ. Alright, and then it goes on here. There's a bunch more. Very interesting article all about past connections, in Atlantean information, where we came from, so on and so forth. You can see there's a lot here. So I'm going to leave that for you to read. That is our UFO news report for today. I'll be back in just a few moments. I have several really good stories you're going to want to hear, so stay tuned. Don't go away. I'll be right back.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So, you know, after that first piece, the 9/11 piece, I'm always reminded after I watch these things, because I've seen so many of these over and over and over again. And for me, I mean, without a shadow of a doubt, I understand what happened. Without a shadow of a doubt, I understand how the buildings came down by the explosives. Nothing that the official report says is true. It's been so researched, and I look at that information because I've seen it so much, and I wonder how others don't know that. Yet I remember each time that there might be somebody who's seeing it new for the first time. Why would that be, though? How could it be that all these years have gone by and people are just seeing this for the first time? It's because the mainstream media has really been a gatekeeper of information. They're not the friend that they claim to be. They don't report the truthful information. And case in point, we're going to jump over to Ron Paul's story, because there's a lot of news about Ron Paul right now that the mainstream's putting out that's not true. Here we go. The story that the mainstream keeps pumping out is Ron Paul has dropped out of the presidential race. But Ron Paul has not dropped out of the presidential race. All one needs to do is read what he actually said, and you understand that he didn't. It says, this comes to us from Washington's blog. It says, Paul ends his campaign in new primary states, but what does it mean? The corporate media is abuzz with headlines saying that Ron Paul has finally seen the light and thrown in the towel and ended his campaign. However, Ron Paul's supporters believe that while he won't be campaigning in primary states, Paul is still in the race and will be focusing on winning delegates in the caucus states. For example, Policy Mike argues, Ron Paul announced today in a letter to supporters that he will not campaign for the popular vote in states that have not yet held their primaries. In his underreported IDD strategy, it's the delegates dummy, Paul has focused on the fact that the presidential nominees are chosen by delegates, not by popular vote. Paul's campaign is focused to date especially on states that allow committed Republican Party members to have a greater voice in the process. States like Iowa, Nevada, Maine, Louisiana, Washington, and Colorado have been states where Paul's supporters have made tremendous inroads in winning party leadership positions and being influential in the national delegate selection process. While many states have yet to finish the delegate selection process, it increasingly looks like Paul could dominate the nationwide delegate process called long ago in Romney's favor. Paul's announcement today fits the same vein, but will no doubt surprise many of his supporters. Not only is Paul saying it's a delegate dummy to Mitt Romney and the nation media, he's taking a step further in saying that spending his supporters' money on winning popular votes is of such little importance to the campaign that they aren't even going to waste time or money on that any longer. But does that mean Paul has dropped out, quit the race, suspended his campaign, packed his bags, returned home a little old Lake Jackson, Texas? No. It means it means quite the opposite. It means that Paul will have more ability to focus on delegate selection instead of the many upcoming winner-take-all states. So, there's more to this article here, but he didn't drop out. They're trying to make you believe that he dropped out because they're so anxious for him to drop out because he is a thorn in their side. Ron Paul talks about the Constitution. He talks about the values that every single American in this country should value. If there's any American who can't understand what Ron Paul's talking about, I just certainly don't understand how that could be, because he talks about following the Constitution, and if you live in this country, you should understand the value of that document and how well it has served this country for so many years. Not only our country, but how it has served the world, because the way that people behave in this country and then treat others. Unfortunately, there's a small minority of those who cause problems. They happen to be in positions of power, which makes it worse, but nonetheless, there's more people that want good than they want bad. Now, this is a story directly from Doug Weed's website, his blog. Doug Weed is part of the Ron Paul campaign. He says, "We are absolutely not dropping out of this race. We are focusing our efforts squarely on winning delegates and party leadership positions at state conventions." Jesse Benton, campaign chairman. Ron Paul announced today that he would not be competing in the upcoming primary states, saying that he would focus instead on his delegate strategy, a strategy that is working, by the way, in transforming the Republican Party. It is something he has said many times since February 11th caucus in Maine. Only this time, the mainstream media gave the announcement full attention and treated it like the end of his campaign. Drudge run it as a front-page headline, "Ron Paul is out." It's all evidence that Alfred Harmsworth's famous quote that news is not when a dog bites a man, but rather when a man bites a dog, has now been officially turned on its head. For the last 2 years, the national media has been saying that Ron Paul is out, so how could that possibly be news? One might ask when the mainstream media ever thought that Ron Paul was in. Bracing for Ron Paul win in Iowa, major news outlets last January announced that if he won, the Iowa caucus itself would be discredited. According to New York Times and the Associated Press, Ron Paul is still listed as the recipient of one delegate from Iowa, a state he now dominates. So there's a lot more to this article here. Again, confirmation, Ron Paul is not out. But wait, here's one more. This is directly from the Ron Paul's website, ronpaul2012.com. Right at the top, Ron Paul has not suspended his campaign. Let's listen to what this is right here.
Well, like many of you, I was surprised to see the headlines today. Paul drops out. Ron Paul suspends his campaign. It should come as no surprise that a mainstream media that can't figure out why Ron Paul is even running for president also can't figure out when he is and is not still running for president. Paul has not dropped out. Ron Paul has not suspended his campaign. What happened today was an announcement of a new strategy moving forward. Since the very beginning of this campaign, we've had a delegate strategy in which through convention we would gather as many delegates in the various states as possible. Not only has this worked, it has been extremely successful in places like Iowa, Maine, Louisiana, moving forward, others. That's going to continue. All that hard work has paid off and will continue to pay off going all the way to Tampa. What has changed? The places where we've been the least effective are primary states. Moving forward, it makes no sense to dump millions of dollars into places where you don't get as much bang for your buck. So you allocate your resources appropriately. That's what's going on. That's way different from suspending your campaign or dropping out. Do you think Ron Paul's really going to walk away from all of those hard-working people at the grassroots who have delivered him so many victories through delegates? Do you think Ron Paul is going to walk away from the thousands of people who continue to show up at his speeches in places in California, Texas, and other states? Do you think Ron Paul is going to walk away from the movement that he has been building since 2007 and 2008 and continues to build today and will be building beyond 2012? That's where the confusion really came in today. The mainstream media understands how to cover conventional campaigns, a horse race, if you will. The mainstream media does not understand how to cover a movement. If a Rick Santorum or Herman Cain or Michelle Bachmann or Rick Perry today said they're not going to have any more primaries, that's considered dropping out. Why? Because there is no Rick Perry movement or Newt Gingrich movement or Santorum movement and so on. But there is a Ron Paul revolution, and the mainstream media still doesn't know what to do with it. Know this. This revolution not only will not be over in 2012 and beyond, it's certainly not over right now. Neither is this campaign as we go all the way to Tampa. I'll see you there.
All right, so again, you've heard it over and over and over again. Ron Paul has not dropped out. The mainstream media wants you to think that. But here's the interesting part. The people who really understand what's going on, they don't rely on the mainstream media for their news because you know otherwise. It's only the folks that just rely on the news. And there are folks like that, believe it or not. There are people that just will watch Fox News and that is it. And they rely upon them and they trust them for their news. I don't know how or why, but they do. And then they're surprised when their news is inaccurate. But they never know it's inaccurate because they only listen to Fox News. Everyone else is inaccurate except for Fox and Bill O'Reilly. I've heard that over and over again. It's really kind of weird because I see Bill O'Reilly lie all the time. But we don't live in a country filled with the brightest individuals. We live in a country with people that allow themselves to get fooled over and over. All right, here's a story. Bush found guilty of war crimes. It's official. George W. Bush is a war criminal. In what the first ever conviction of any kind anywhere in the world, the former U.S. president and several key members of his administration were today, Friday, found guilty of war crimes. Bush, Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, and their legal advisor Alberto Gonzales, David Addington, William Haynes, Jay Bybee, and John Yu were tried in absentia in Malaysia. The trial, held in Kuala Lumpur, heard harrowing witness accounts from victims of the torture who suffered at the hands of U.S. soldiers and contractors in Iraq and Afghanistan. They include testimony from a British man, Mozambique, an ex-Guantanamo detainee, an Iraqi woman, Jamil Amalis Hamid, who was tortured in the notorious Abu Ghraib prison. At the end of the week-long hearing, the five-panel tribunal unanimously delivered guilty verdicts against Bush, Cheney, Rumsfeld, and their key legal advisors, who were all convicted as war criminals for torture and cruel, inhumane, and degrading treatment. Full transcripts of the charges and witness statements and other relevant material will now be sent to the Chief Prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, as well as United Nations and Security Council. The Kuala Lumpur War Crimes Commission is also asking the names of Bush, Cheney, Rumsfeld, Gonzales, Yu, Bybee, Addington, and Hayes be included in the Commission's Register of War Criminals for public record. The tribunal is the initiative of Malaysia retired Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad, who staunchly opposed the American-led invasion of Iraq in 2003. Much more to the article. Again, good news that there are people that understand. Be even better when they're finally brought to justice, but we'll take the little minor victories where they come. We'll see where it goes. All right, moving right along to Obama. Yesterday I did all the story about him being the Antichrist or connection to Antichrist-like energy and ideas. He is the man who is the face of the United States right now as the president. He is the president during the time of 2012. He is the president who is not being honest with American people. Anyway, here's a video. Comes from Brother Nathaniel. I think you might find this quite interesting. Let's see what you think. Here we go.
Barack Hussein Obama is now the first American president ever to come out in favor of same-sex marriage. In an interview last week with ABC, Obama broke with the traditional view of marriage between a man and a woman by affirming that marital unions between those of the same sex should be allowed.
An historic interview hours ago, President Obama speaking exclusively to ABC's Robin Roberts and announcing something no U.S. president has ever said, that he supports same-sex marriage.
I've always been adamant that gay and lesbian Americans should be treated fairly and equally. And I was sensitive to the fact that for a lot of people, you know, the word marriage was something that evokes very powerful traditions, religious beliefs, and so forth. But I have to tell you that at a certain point I've just concluded that it is important for me to go ahead and affirm that I think same-sex couples should be able to get married.
Now, some are saying that Obama's support of gay marriage is due to his own homosexual leanings, but no solid evidence for this has been produced. For instance, in honor of Gay Pride Month in June of 2009, Obama invited gay leaders to the White House, to whom he declared, "I will be your champion, who will fight both with you and for you." But this, including Obama's intimate embrace of one of the homosexual leaders, and even early photos of Barack in his youth, is uncertain proof that Obama is gay himself. Yes, at the meeting, Obama did confirm that he asked Congress to repeal the long-standing Defense of Marriage Act, which traditionally defines how local, state, and federal bodies are to recognize partnerships and determine benefits, Yet this still proves nothing. But there is credible evidence attesting to Obama's same-sex past from a very persuasive witness, a Larry Sinclair, who's been very public about it too. In his book, Obama and Sinclair, Cocaine, Sex, Lies, and Murder, Sinclair describes how in November of 1999 in Chicago, he personally engaged in sexual activity with Obama in the back of a limousine and later in his hotel room. Notably, on June 18, 2008, before a large crowd at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C., Sinclair disclosed in a very believable testimony significant details of the homosexual liaison that took place between himself and Obama in 1999.
In regards to the Obama incident, I flew out of Colorado Springs, Colorado to Chicago on November 2nd, 1999, arriving in O'Hare early in the morning of November 3rd. I made reservations at the Comfort Inn and Suites in Gurnee, Illinois, based solely on the location to the training center. On November 5th, 1999, I hired the services of Five-Star Limousine. On November 6, 1999, I asked the limo driver, whose name I now reveal for the first time, Jagir Paramit Mutani, if he knew anyone who would like to socialize and show me Chicago. Mr. Mutani said he knew someone who was a friend of his. On November 6, 1999, after picking me up at the hotel in Gurnee, and this is significant, Mr. Mutani used his cell phone to make a call. That call was made to then Illinois State Senator Barack Obama to set up an introduction between myself and Senator Obama. Upon arriving at the bar and exiting the limo, Senator Obama was standing next to Mr. Mutani, and I was introduced to Senator Obama by name. Later that evening in a bar which I believe was called Alibis, and I state believe because I have failed so far to get Citigroup to provide the credit card receipts that has the actual name. I mentioned I could use a line or two to wake up. Senator Obama asked me if I was referring to coke, and I stated I was. After stating I was, Obama stated he could purchase cocaine for me and then made a telephone call. Senator Obama and I then departed the bar in my limousine and proceeded to an unknown location where Senator Obama exited the limousine with $250, which was provided to him by me. Returned a short while later with an 8-ball of cocaine, which he gave to me. I did ingest a couple of lines of cocaine, and shortly thereafter, Senator Obama produced a glass cylinder pipe and packet of crack cocaine from his pocket. Obama then smoked the crack cocaine. I performed fellatio on Senator Obama in the limousine during the time Senator Obama was smoking crack cocaine, after which I had the driver take me to my hotel, the Comfort Suites, Gurnee, Illinois. The following day, November 7th, 1999, Senator Obama appeared at my hotel room, unannounced, uninvited, where we again ingested cocaine and I again performed fellatio on Senator Obama.
No sooner was the meeting over than Sinclair was arrested and led away in handcuffs with no charges attached. An involvement of then Senator Joe Biden surrounding the arrest was afterwards reported. Biden, it is alleged, informed authorities a few days before the press club meeting that Sinclair was a fugitive of justice. However, others see Sinclair's arrest as a miscarriage of justice, drawing the conclusion that Larry Sinclair became a political prisoner at the bidding of Obama operatives. But the real miscarriage here is Obama's claim that by supporting same-sex marriage, he is upholding the ideals on which our nation was founded. Not true. America's founding fathers upheld the role of the traditional family as the foundation of national morality. But surrounded by Jewish special advisors, radical socialist Valerie Jarrett, ad man David Axelrod, and Zionist shill Joe Biden, Obama has toppled all that was left of our national morality by advocating in support of same-sex marriage, the unnatural, unseemly, unchristian, deviant act of homosexuality. As D.V. Kidd puts it, there's nothing gay about men engaging in bowel movement sex in each other's rectums and feces who end up dying of AIDS. America is now in the throes of a spiritual crisis, and it's going to take a whole different kind of leadership than what Obama or even Romney has to offer to bring health and healing to our fallen, morally wounded, leaderless nation.
All right, moving right along. It's from ENE News. Physicist, Unit 2 completely liquefied, 100% liquification of uranium core. We've never seen this before in the history of nuclear power. That's not a good thing. Let me play this for you.
Do you have what it takes to sing with a super...
Alright, no commercials here. Goes on to say, alright, here we go. This is the video. Sorry about that. It's playing the wrong one.
Now, just in the last few weeks, it's been in the papers to some degree. Units 2, 3, and 4 have been shown to be in a very dire situation. Unit 2, we now know, completely liquefied. We've never seen this before in the history of nuclear power, a 100% liquefaction of a uranium core.
All right, so they've got something unique that they're dealing with. The video is available. Check that out. All right, coming up on Sunday is an event that is, well, it's quite a big event. It's an event, the annular solar eclipse called the Ring of Fire eclipse. It takes place on May 20th, 2012. Now, let's just read this here, go over this. What is an annular solar eclipse? A solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes between the Earth and the Sun, thereby totally or partially obscuring the image of the Sun for a viewer on the Earth. An annular solar eclipse occurs when the moon's apparent diameter is smaller than the Sun, causing the Sun to look like an annulus, a ring, blocking most of the Sun's light. An annular eclipse appears as a partial eclipse over a region thousands of kilometers wide. The annular phase will be visible from the Chinese coast, the south of Japan, and the western part of the United States and Canada. Guangzhou, Tokyo, and Albuquerque will be the central path. Coransville, Utah will be a perfect place to view the annular phase. Its maximum will be in the North Pacific, south of the Aleutian Islands, for 5 minutes and 46.3 seconds, and finish in the western United States. It will be the first central eclipse of the 21st century in the continental United States. It will also be the first annular eclipse since the solar eclipse of May 10, 1994. The annular solar eclipse will pass over the western United States, and here's a video that animates what is going to happen. All right. There we go. As you can see, well, there's no audio to this one, moves around. I'm going to leave you to watch the video there. Here's some interesting information further about this. Myth and prophecy about this annular eclipse. We've talked about these. I'm going to continue on a little bit more. Nostradamus quatrains in the May earthquake. X67, a mighty earthquake in the month of May. Saturn, Capricorn, Jupiter, Mercury, and Taurus. Venus also, Cancer, Mars, and None, Cero. Hail will fall larger than an egg. 1X83, Sun, 20th of Taurus. The earth will tremble very mightily. It will ruin the great heater filled to darken and trouble the sky and land. Then infidel will call upon God and saints. The center of the sky will be the Sun in the Pleiades, conjunction on May 20th. A possible Kukulkan Quetzalcoatl manifestation sometime between now and up to that date. The Mayan lore predicts that after a global earthquake, the new men of knowledge will return to Earth and usher in global government. alignment on May 20th, an alignment of the Earth, the Moon, and the Sun. But the Pleiades star system also aligned simultaneously from behind the Sun at precisely the same time. And then we have here the clip of Jaime Maussan talking at the 16th Annual UFO Congress is here as well. And then here we have something from Edgar Cayce. In 1941, Cayce predicted the coastlines now of many a land will be the bed of the ocean. He warned New York, watch New York, Connecticut, and the like. Many portions of the East Coast will be disturbed, as well as portions of the West Coast, as well as the central points of the United States, Los Angeles, San Francisco. Most of all of these will be those that will be destroyed before New York or New York City itself will be the main disappear. This will be another generation, though. Here, while the southern portions of Carolina, Georgia will disappear, they will be much sooner. Alright. So this site itself here, and the link is available, it's called thetruthbehindthescenes.org. And go ahead and check out this information, because what's going on this week, you know, I think this could have some good significance of what's going on. You know, this is a year of change, regardless of what came out the other day and the information. 2012 is still turning out to be a year of change, and will continue to be a year of change. Okay? These crop circles that came out, 2 of them in 2005 and 2008, are something that pointed to these times up ahead as significant. So we'll find out in 4 or 5 days, right? Alright, next story here. This has to do with News Corp and an executive who's being charged.
Well, here in Britain, one of Rupert Murdoch's former key executives, that's the ex-News International chief, Rebekah Brooks, is to be charged with conspiring to pervert the course of justice. A total of 6 people in all, including Mrs. Brooks' husband, Charlie Brooks, are accused of concealing evidence from the police investigation into the phone hacking scandal. Naomi Grimley is in Westminster for us. Well, what can we say? A decisive, significant, considerable moment in the phone hacking story.
First charges we've had since the phone hacking inquiry by police was reopened 18 months ago. And I can just give you some more details of the specific charges that are put against them. These include concealing material from officers of London's Metropolitan Police Service, and also conspiring to remove 7 boxes of material from the archive of News International. Now, it is, in all probability, will mean that this will come to a court case probably next year, and if she and others were found guilty, they could face a custodial sentence, because it is a serious charge that has been put against them.
Right, and it's been put to 6 of them, but she and her husband have come up with their own statement, haven't they?
They have indeed. They have basically come out fighting, because even before this was officially announced, they put a statement out to the press saying it was a weak and unjust decision. They also accused the prosecutors here of posturing. Now, that won't have gone down very well, and it may be that Rebekah Brooks actually appears on camera later. Clearly, they do feel very angry about this. But whatever she says to the media, she will have to be very guarded, because she is also still on bail in relation to other possible offences. She's being investigated for phone hacking itself, that's the interception of communications, and she's also being investigated for corruption, though in those 2 strands of the inquiry, no charges have yet been put.
Naomi, thank you very much.
Wow, Rupert Murdoch, employee with News Corp in trouble for, boy. Good thing it hasn't affected Fox News over here. Good thing that they haven't been affected by any of that corruption, because they are an organization of integrity. Let's hope they continue to stay that way. You know I'm just kidding, right? Fox News is so unbiased. Alright, I just wanted to make sure nobody was taking me serious, that's all. 'Cause I think it's just ridiculous. The lies, the lies, the lies. Alright, here's something before we do our meditation. This comes to us from educatinghumanity.com. MIT develops anti-gravity. electromagnetic video. Early stages of anti-gravity are finally being taken serious. The metal ball in the image above has the ability to levitate, move around in your command, or simply hover in the mid-air. Gina Lee at the MIT Media Lab Center for Bits and Atoms, first posted on Wired.com, had an idea and named it Xeron. The ball is powered by pure science, using powerful magnetic fields controlled by a computer coupled to an optical tracking system and a projector allow the ball to defy gravity. There is an interface which allows both you and the computer to communicate to achieve manipulation of objects, so in essence you can make them achieve flight. Alright, Xeron can remember how it moved. Physical motions of people can be collected in this medium to preserve and play them back immediately. When the user releases the Xeron, it continues to float and starts to move along the same path. This allows a unique, tangible record of users' physical presence and motion, which will continue to exist even after the death of the person. Alright, there isn't any video or anything here, unfortunately, just the image of the floating object. Pretty cool though. As I hear more, we hear more, it will be reported to you. Alright, that brings us to our meditation for today, so let's close our eyes, relax, take a deep breath. Let's imagine today we are walking down a path. Walking down a path because we walk the path every day. We've been walking the path for many, many years upon this planet. And as we walk the path, we know that the best way to operate is to make sure all of our energy is attuned, so we go ahead and make sure all our chakras are activated. Red at the bottom of the spine, orange at the belly button, yellow just below the rib cage, green at the heart chakra, blue at the throat, violet at the third eye, indigo at the crown chakra, and the light continues on into the cosmos. Honor your connection to all that is, was, and ever shall be, to the energy of the cosmos and the energy of the earth. From your heart chakra, send out love all around the planet. Imagine a green energy, a green light from the green heart-colored chakra going out, sending that love all around the planet. Imagine others sending love back to you and feeling the love being sent from all around. And know that others are feeling the love that you send around. Imagine that your mind is clear and focused. The rain starts to fall gently, and as it does, it washes away all the doubts and the fears that have attached themselves to you or are surrounding you. And as the doubts and the fears wash away, your body glows with the light that shines from within. Let's think of all those people in life who need healing, and let's send healing energy their way. And let's think of positive energy for people of planet Earth. And with that, we'll bring our energy and attention back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. And there you have it. That's the end of our show, prayer, meditation, the whole thing. So thanks for being here again. I'll be back tomorrow with more news and information. Till then, have a great day. Be safe. Peace. I'm out of here.